Okay, welcome to today's video. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been rating and commenting on all the previous Ulandos thinking hole videos. I'll try to get to all the comments as best as I can, but sometimes I'm just not in the right mental space to be able to reply. Anyway, grab yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever. Probably don't have to watch any of this video apart from when I mentioned something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a pretty neat pyramid. Even then, you still don't need to watch. But if you want to, got some gameplay in the background for you to enjoy as I'm talking. Alright, on with the show. I am not motivated to make this video, but I've got this little theory of mine where if you're not motivated to do something, you just leap into it. I forget where I learnt it. I've sort of adapted it into my own sort of way of doing it. Essentially, if you're not motivated to do something, you just jump straight into it. And eventually, as you're working into that thing, the motivation just slowly comes. And if it doesn't, you just work on something else. Which is what I tried to do prior to beginning this. I tried to talk about paranormal stuff, and then I'm like, motivation's not hitting, so you know what? Actually, let's talk about motivation. Anyway, so prior to today, I didn't actually know much about the inner workings of motivation. I know what it is. It's this psychological need or drive to just complete something or reduce the need for something that we're looking for or, striving for. So what exactly causes it was mostly my question and the thing I wanted to discuss today in regards to motivation. And how do you go about beating the hell out of it with a stick when it doesn't want to cooperate with you? So through my little miniature studies of what exactly motivation is, I discovered the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs was an idea proposed by Abraham Maslow in a 1943 paper called A Theory of Human Motivation. So the entire pyramid is sort of, given the name of the paper, A Theory of Human Motivation, hits the nail on the head with our situation. And the fact that this is so relevant and just feels so true, like 70 years, 1943 now, 78 years later, the fact that it's still relevant 78 years later is astonishing. Anyway, so I never knew about this. Let's go through this pyramid theory Maslow has. So at the bottom, we've got the physiological needs, slash basic needs, which also includes the safety needs as well. So when I read the bottom ones, food, water, warmth, and rest, I'm always motivated to get food when I'm hungry. I'm always motivated to get water when I'm hungry. I'm always motivated to get cold if I'm warm and to get warm if I'm cold. And I'm always motivated to rest when I'm tired. So that bottom one, for me personally, it resonates 100%. There is no arguing that in any way, unless you're like laying on the bed and you're like, I am slightly thirsty, but the water is in the fridge. I guess I'll watch one more episode of Family Guy before I get up to get water. That's the closest I'll get to avoiding my actual physiological needs. And then when we go up to safety needs, security and safety, like the need to be secure and safe. So those, from my point of view, just probably because of the way my brain works, I gotta keep in mind, everyone is very different. I've got mental illness, and I've also got just, a different personality from other people. So personally, security and safety is where things start to, escalate in the regard of me not being motivated to achieve them. Which makes sense because in Maslow's pyramid, the higher you go, from what I'm seeing, the less motivated you are to complete certain things. So even though it's considered a basic need, for me personally, I am motivated to become secure and to be safe, but it's not as high as the physiological needs. And then we move up to the psychological needs, which is like the you need to be loved, this feeling of belongingness, and then like esteem needs, like feeling accomplished, you've done something, I don't know, you got a PhD, and also, with the belonging and lovingness again, you've got relationships, you've got friends, you've got a significant other. So I can already feel from a personal view that the need for motivation, or the innate drive within me to be motivated, is probably the correct way to say it, is already sort of diminishing. Because these things are not, I'm going to assume it's because these things are not absolutely essential for our survival. Obviously in tribal times, food, water, warmth, and rest. You know, that with any creature, that is always needed. But I can understand now, I sort of understand why I struggle to have motivation now because of this pyramid. Maslow, this creation and theory by Maslow it's very accurate, I would say. So as we get into intimate relationships and friends, yes, I'm motivated, but at times I'm not motivated as well. You know, a feeling of accomplishment, I'm always motivated for that, but to get to that point, I'm sometimes not motivated at all. And then right at the top, we have these self-fulfillment needs. So achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. For me personally, I think the top section and the blue section, so the purple and the blue section, the two top pieces of the pyramid, is probably where I fall into when I do my YouTube videos, and why it's so difficult to actually get the motivation to do so, because it's so far away from the physiological needs. And as much as, you know, you want to fight it, like, you can't really fight your natural drives. You can, and I advise you do, but being aware of this is probably the first step to fighting it, to correctly fighting it, I would say. Because trying to fight something you don't understand or have any theories about is sort of a useless fight, I would say. So just from me talking about this in this video, I think I probably helped myself, as selfish as that may sound. But hopefully, the other side of me that wants to help people, hopefully this has helped you as well. Because I was never aware of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And when I was going into it, trying to figure out what the hell creates motivation, etc., etc., I never thought I'd find a pretty definitive answer, in my opinion at least, to, you know, my question. Usually the questions I have can never really be answered properly. But motivation, for instance, it seems as humans, we have really, really dug our heels into trying to figure out what causes motivation and what can destroy it, etc. Speaking of that, what can destroy motivation? Probably failure would destroy motivation, but then to not let failure destroy your motivation, you need to understand failure and how it can benefit you. So in regards of that, I think I myself probably need to study a little bit more on failure, but I do accept that you will fail. And when you fail, you learn from your failures. So that is something, if you don't accept failure yourself, you probably want to look into as well. Otherwise, when you're trying to become motivated and something goes wrong, you're just going to fall over completely. So yeah, this was an interesting one. Yeah, so I was going to ask a lot of questions like, do other creatures feel the need for motivation? Or like, do they feel motivation? Do they feel motivated to do things? Yeah, they would. But then again, which is another interesting thing is, do you think, for instance, a dog or a cat or a lion or a bear, where does it end in regards to Maslow's hierarchy of needs? So, for instance, let's use a bear, for instance. A bear needs food, water, warmth, rest. It'll be motivated to do that. It'll look for security and safety, yes, when, you know, most creatures create some sort of home and some sort of safety net. They do intimate relationships and friends and stuff. I think that's where the line is between humans and other creatures. I've always disagreed that we as a species are, you know, better or more smarter or however you want to put it than other creatures. So the one thing I don't like about this particular hierarchy pyramid is that I just cannot imagine the top two being applied to other creatures. And I feel like it's a little bit egotistical that those two are there just for us. That's just me speaking from a sort of equality point of view in regards to other creatures. So I don't know. I'm of a belief that we put too much importance on our own species, and we think we're better than everything else, but which we're not. But yeah, apart from that, everything resonates with me really well with this, and it's probably one of the first videos in this little playlist series I'm doing where there's sort of a definitive answer for the question I'm raising. But then again, it's not always black and white, and sometimes motivation, I lack motivation in, according to this chart, basic needs as well. So how do you fix that? How do you fix it? How do you encourage yourself to do motivation? Usually, in our society at least, usually what the end reward is from doing things to be motivated, whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic, I think it was, is usually money, I would say, or some sort of prestige, like a doctorate or fame, being a celebrity, or being recognized for your work. Those are the sort of things that would motivate you to do certain things. But what happens when the conventional reward system doesn't apply to you so much? Like, for instance, with me, I don't care too much about money, nor do I care about prestige or appearance. Like, how do you create a motivational mood when you don't really give a shit what the hell's gonna happen after you're done? That's always been my problem, I think. And yes, money can work sometimes. So can the attention of others, and perhaps the spreading of information to others as well, like education purposes. Even then, personally, this is something I struggle with as well. So I don't know. I just don't see a point a lot of the time, and that's probably on me. That's something I need to deal with, and something I need to figure out myself. But I would say that the conventional reward system, by that, when I say that, that's money, exposure, celebrity. We're talking Western society stuff. I would say that applies for most people, and that's how you'd probably get into the motivational spirit. What happens when you lack that? It's an interesting question. Quite an interesting one. Anyway, thank you for watching so much. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.